Hello friends, today we will discuss our next topic, that is congestion. Congestion is an important issue in the packet switch network. Congestion occurs when we have the fast sender and slow receiver. Or we can say that the congestion may occur when the number of packets sent to the network is greater than the capacity of network. Now to understand the congestion and how to control the congestion, we will take the example of a router in which we have the three interfaces. Let us suppose we have a router. I am going to provide the name as R, and at the router we have three interfaces. Now I am going to provide the name to the interface as I. So there are three interfaces. I will provide I1, I2 and I3. That is exactly the same as the router have three wires. Now obviously when we have the interface has some output and input cable. So we will define the input and output cable with the help of the buffer. So we are going to take a buffer of input. So this is the input buffer which will provide the input to the router. Same we have the input buffer for I2 and I3. Similarly we have the output buffer for the I1, I2 and I3. So now we have a router with the input buffer. There are three input buffers. So we have the two main issues in the router. If I am talking about the first issue, if the rate of packet arrival is higher than packet processing rate, then input queue become larger. Now to understand that particular sequence of the first issue, that is if the rate of packet arrival is higher. So example, I am talking about the input queue. Say the data is coming from the input queue to the particular router. At end of the queue, we will combine with particular packets in the buffer. So let us suppose we have filled with the packets. Whenever the packet is coming, so the buffer will be full. This is the first packet. Now we have the second packet. Now the third packet. All the packets will combine and fill in the buffer. And suppose the packet processing time, that is very less at the end of the router, then all the packets will be filled in the buffer. And in that case, the congestion will occur because the input queue become longer and longer. So the congestion will occur. Now we have the second issue. The second issue is if the packet departure rate is less than packet processing rate, output queue become longer. Now let us suppose take the output queue of I3. That means the packets will be sent from I3 to the output queue. That will be the flow. What second issue says, if packet departure rate is less than the packet processing rate. For example, the packets are sent to the output queue and the packets are filled in the output queue. So the I3 is sending the packets in the output queue. So queue will be filled. Now queue can process the packet very fastly, but the I3 is sending the packet very slowly. So the output queue become longer and longer. In that case, the congestion will occur. So congestion basically occur whenever we have the fast sender and the slow receiver. So that is the main aim or main task done by the congestion. So there is a main question that how to control congestion. So our next topic under the congestion is to control congestion. Next is congestion control. So in the congestion control we have two methods, that is open loop and a closed loop. So the first method is open loop and second one is closed loop. So what is the difference between open loop and the closed loop? Open loop are the methods or the algorithms which we can take before the congestion happens. That means these are the prevention methods of congestion control. Then we have the closed loop. These are the methods or the algorithm that we can use after the congestion occurs. So we will discuss the open loop first. In the open loop we have various further policies. So the first policy is retransmission policy. So the first policy under open loop is retransmission policy. Second we have the window policy. Third is acknowledgement policy. Next is discarding policy. And the last is admission policy. Now let's come under the closed loop. Under the closed loop we have the further policies. First we have the back pressure. Second is chalk packet. Third is implicit signaling. And the last is explicit signaling. So that is all about the congestion control, in which we have the two parts, that is the open loop and the closed loop. And under the open loop we have various policies, and under closed loop we have the different policies and the algorithm. So we will start with the open loop. So now we have the congestion control. In the congestion control we have two types, that is the open loop and the closed loop. Before the congestion occur, when we use the type is called the open loop, and after the congestion occur, that is called the closed loop. So first we will discuss the open loop, and the first one is retransmission policy. So example, there is a source and the destination, and source want to send the data to destination, and if the packet lost, then we have to retransmit that data. This is called the retransmission policy. And if we choose the good retransmission policy, which can reduce the congestion. Now the question arises, how we can use the good retransmission policy? Now say example, we are going to send a particular 5 packets from sender to receiver, and out of which every time the destination is sending the acknowledgement, and we have to retransmit each the packet again and again. But say example, we will retransmit only 3 packets instead of all the packets, then by the help of this good retransmission policy, we can reduce the congestion. So we can provide the timer. That means the sender will not send the packets each time. It will wait for the particular amount of time, and after that it will retransmit the packets. So by the help of this policy, we can reduce the congestion. Now the next policy is window policy. Now the next one is the window policy. With the help of the good window policy selection, we can also reduce the congestion. Now see the example. For example, we are having two types of window. The first one is selective repeat window, and the second one is go back n window. Now see how we'll choose between two windows and the congestion will improve. For example, we are using the go back n window. What is the policy of go back n window? For example, we are having a computer. Suppose this one is our source and second one is our destination. Now here S stands for source and D stands for destination. Now suppose source S wants to send the data, and we have the data packets which are 3 in number. So we have the 3 data packets. I am providing them the name as P1 for packet 1, P2 for packet 2, and P3 for packet 3. And source wants to send all these packets to destination. Now suppose P1 and P3 are reached to the destination, and P2 is not able to reach to the destination. So now this is the destination which you see packet number 1 and packet number 3, but P2 is not able to send to the destination. In that case, they will send an acknowledgement signal to the source, and source will retransmit all the data packets. In the go back n window, source will send all the packets including P1 and P3. So this is the retransmission of all the packets P1, P2 and P3 from source to destination. Now we can see that we have received packet P2, but unnecessarily we have received packet number P1, which is as a duplicate packet, and again we have the P3, which is a duplicate packet. So that means by using go back n window, we are increasing the congestion. Now see the example of selective repeat window. Now suppose we have the same source and same destination with the same 3 packets. Now sender will send the packets P1, P2 and P3 to destination. Again the destination receives packet number P1 and P3, but the P2 is not reached to destination. So destination will send a particular acknowledgement to sender, and sender will again send packet, but now as it is a selective repeat window, it will send a packet number P2 to the destination. Now this one is the retransmission of P2 packet by selective repeat window. So now we have the packets P1, P2 and P3. So by the selection of proper window, we can reduce the congestion. So the selective repeat window is obviously better than go back n window. And also in the selective repeat window, we have the low congestion. So we have discussed the window policy under the open loop. Next we have the acknowledgement policy. Now we have the acknowledgement policy under the open loop. So with the help of the acknowledgement policy, by the better selection of acknowledgement policy, we can also reduce the congestion. See how. So to understand this policy, we will take the example of a sender and the receiver. S stands for sender and R stands for receiver. Now let us suppose sender have 3 packets and you want to send the packets to receiver. Now suppose sender will send all the packets sequentially. Now the P1 packet will be sent from sender to receiver, and when the receiver gets the particular P1 packet, it will send the acknowledgement to sender. Now receiver will send acknowledgement to sender. Now ACK stands for the acknowledgement. Now again sender have the P2 packet and will send to the receiver. Now receiver received the P2 packet and will send the acknowledgement to sender. So you can see that in the each time whenever the sender is sending the packet to receiver, the sender will receive a particular acknowledgement and we have with the two acknowledgement. So that means the duplicacy. Duplicate packets, that means the congestion. So that was the case 1. Now in the acknowledgement policy, we have a second case. Again we have a sender and the receiver, and sender have the two packets to send to the receiver, and sender will send a particular amount of packets at the same time to the receiver. Now sender send the two packets at the same time to the receiver, and after two packets, receiver will send the acknowledgement to sender. So now with the help of this second case or this policy, we have only single acknowledgement. So if we send the acknowledgement after a special time expire, so now in the case 2, the sender will send the particular packet to the receiver. Now the packet will receive the packet P1 and it will wait. Again it will receive the packet 2 and it will wait. And when the time expire, it will send the acknowledgement. So we can use the time expire policy or maybe the number of packet policy. So that means the receiver will send the acknowledgement when it has received the two packets. So the policy we use is 2 packets, that means n packets at a time. So whenever it will receive the 2 packets, it will send the acknowledgement. So by the using of the case 2, we can reduce the congestion. So case 2 is better than the case 1. So it signifies that by using the proper acknowledgement policy or the good acknowledgement policy, we can reduce congestion. In the acknowledgement policy, we can reduce the congestion by a special time expired or maybe after n packets at a time. Now the next we have the discarding policy. By using the good discarding policy, we can prevent the congestion and there will be no harm in the integrity of transmission. So say example, we want to send the audio transmission. In the audio transmission, we will send a particular packets and say we have discarded all the less sensitive packets, and in that case, the quality of audio is prevented, and also we have the less congestion. So in the layman language, you can say that the packets which are not of use or have the less sensitive data, we can discard those packets. So that is all about the discarding policy. Next we have the admission policy. So the next we have the admission policy. In the admission policy, we can restrict the incoming or the outgoing data from the switch or the router. Now the QoS mechanism also prevents congestion in virtual circuit network. Now we can restrict the admission with the help of two policies. The first policy is the switches first check resource requirement of a flow before admitting to network. And the second one is router deny establishing virtual circuit connection if chances of future congestion in the network. So that is all about the admission policy. So we have discussed all the techniques of open loop, that is retransmission policy, window policy, acknowledgement policy, discarding policy and admission policy. So next we will discuss the closed loop under congestion control. So closed loop are the techniques which we basically used after the congestion occur. Under the closed loop, we have the four main types, that is the back pressure, choke packet, implicit signaling and explicit signaling. First of all, we will discuss the back pressure. Now the back pressure. Under the back pressure, congested node stops receiving data from immediate upstream node in opposite direction of data flow. To understand the back pressure, we will take the example of a diagram in which we have a source and a destination. So there are two computers. First one is source and second one is destination. Between source and destination, we have four NEs. NE stand for network elements. Now we will provide them the name as the 1, 2, 3 and 4. These are the network elements. Network elements may be the switch or the router which will connect from the source to destination. Now destination is connected with the source with the help of all the four network elements. The source is connected with the first network element and first with the 2, 2 with the third, 3 with the fourth network element and the third network element with the fourth and fourth with the destination. Now we can see that the communication flow is from source to destination. Now let us suppose that in the node 3 we have the congestion. Now the node 3 is congested, that means it will not receive the further packets from the node number 2. So it will deny the further packets from receiving node number 2. So it will send a back pressure message to 2. Now, when node number 3 will send the back pressure message to node number 2 or the network element 2, that means node 3 will not receive any data which will be passed from node number 2 to node number 3. Now, again the node number 2 is congested, then node 2 will send the back pressure message to node number 1. Now, node number 2 will send the back pressure message to node number 1. We are writing as BP. BP stands for the back pressure. Now, similarly as the node number 2 and 3, one will be congested and will again send the back pressure message to the source. Now, you can see that the back pressure message is opposite to the data flow, as the data flow is in the direction from source to destination. Now, when the source receives back pressure message from node number 1, then source will come to know that there is congestion at some point between the network from source to destination. So, source will be slowed down. Now, when the source slow down, that will send the packet at after some particular time interval, and we can reduce the congestion with the help of back pressure. So that is all about the back pressure, in which a congested node sends a back pressure message to the previous node and source will slow down. So next we have the chalk packet. In the chalk packet, congested node will inform the source about the congestion. So to understand the chalk packet, we have the similar diagram as the previous one, in which we have a source and destination, and they are connected with each other with the help of 4 network elements. Now the data flow is from source to destination. Now in the choke packet, let us suppose the node number 3, that is network element 3, is congested. Now when the node number 3 is congested, it will send a chalk packet to the source directly. The chalk packet will start from the node number 3, which is congested, to the source. Now source will come to know from the choke packet that the node number 3 is congested and it will slow down. Now you may have a question that the chalk packet is similar with the back pressure, because in the back pressure, source is informed about the congestion, and in the chalk packet, again the source is informed about the congestion. But the difference is that in the back pressure, we will send the particular packet within the particular data packet, but in the chalk packet, we will send a separate packet to the source. So that is all about the chalk packet. Now next we have the implicit signaling. In the implicit signaling, we don't have the communication between source and congested node. Now in the implicit signaling, source guesses congestion by delaying acknowledgement and slow down. Now to understand the implicit signaling, let us take the example of previous diagram, in which we have a source and the destination and 4 nodes. Now again the node number 3 is congested. Now the node number 3 is congested. In that case, there will be delay in transmission the packet from 3 to 4 and from 4 to destination. In that case, the destination will receive the packet very late. So as a result, the acknowledgement will be delayed from the destination to source. Now when the source comes to know about the delay in acknowledgement, it will guess the congestion. So the source guesses about congestion and it will slow down to reduce the congestion. So that is all about the implicit signaling. Now we will discuss the explicit signaling. In the explicit signaling, congested node explicitly sends signal to source or destination. So to understand explicit signaling, let us take the example of previous diagram. Now suppose the node number 3 is congested. So it will send an explicit message to the source or the destination. Now the congested node will inform source about congestion, or the node number 3 may also inform the destination about the congestion. So now we have one more option, that means the congested node may also inform the destination explicitly about the congestion. So we can choose either one of option, that may be to inform source or to inform the destination. That means the one option at a time. Now the explicit signaling is similar as the chalk packet, because in the chalk packet we also inform the source about the congestion. So what are the difference between the chalk packet and the explicit signaling? Now in the chalk packet, congestion node will inform the source about the congestion, but here the separate packet is used. Again in the explicit signaling, the congestion node may inform the source of the destination, but here the signal is included in packet that carry data. Now except the 4 methods, that is the back pressure, chalk packet, implicit signaling and the explicit signaling, we have 2 more options, that is backward signaling and the forward signaling under the closed loop. Now we'll discuss the backward signaling. In the backward signaling, a bit is set in a packet moving in direction opposite to congestion. It warns source about congestion and the source slow down. To understand the backward signaling, let us take the example of a diagram. That is, in the previous diagram we have discussed about the source and destination, and we have the 4 node, and the node number 3 is congested. Data flow is in the direction from the source to destination. Now in the network element number 2 or in the node 2, the bit is set which is in the opposite to the congestion or the data flow. Now this bit is set in the opposite to the direction of the congestion and the data flow. So the source will come to know about the congestion and it will slow down. And the source will slow down, and in that case you can reduce the congestion or control the congestion. Now we will discuss the forward signaling. In forward signaling, a bit is set in a packet moving in direction of congestion. Now the receiver uses policy to reduce congestion like slow down acknowledgement. Now to understand forward signaling, let us take the example of the previous diagram. Now there is a source and destination in which we have the 4 nodes or the network elements. They are interconnecting with each other. And let us suppose the node number 3 is congested and the data flow is in the direction from the source to destination. So the congested node will set the bit to the next node, that is the forward signaling. So bit is set in the node number 4. So the forward signaling is opposite to the backward signaling. In the backward signaling, the bit is set in the node which is previous to the congestion and opposite to data flow, and the forward signaling bit will be set in the forward direction, that is in the direction of data flow. Now the destination come to know about the congestion and it will slow down the acknowledgement, and the source gets the congestion and slow down. So that is all about the closed loop congestion control. So in the lecture we have discussed about the open loop, closed loop, what is congestion and how to control the congestion. So that's all about the congestion control. Thank you.